Good evening. It's Thursday, May 15th, 2025. This is the time and place for the Mount Lebanon Zoning Hearing Board meeting. Before we get started today, hearing the cases, we have a board reorganization and we have to elect officers. So I guess if there's a nomination for chair.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Matthew Rother as the chair of the board.
Second that.
All right, I accept. I would like to nominate John Conti as vice chair.
Accept that.
Second that.
And that leaves Carrie Farmer as secretary.
I accept.
Okay. So we will first hear appeal number 1869. For whoever is present for that, if you would like to stand and be sworn in at this time.
You swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So included in our packet of materials is we have the content cover sheet, the official appeal notice, the advertisement in the newspaper, the application, looks like a description, justification for the setback variance request from the applicant, the receipt of the newspaper ad, plan drawings from Mark Richard Fickley, F-I-C-K-L-E-Y, architecture, landscape architecture and planning, and color photographs taken by the municipality. So if you could just state your name and address before you get started, and now is your time to present your case.
So my name is Fred Episcopo, and this is my wife, Linda Episcopo. And first, let me say thank you for letting us come in and address you this evening. So our case is pretty simple. We just bought the house on Broadmoor, 466 Broadmoor Avenue. And we would like to put an addition on the back of it. And we would also like to put a small vestibule on the front of it. And the reason for the vestibule is strictly because there are no closets on the first floor. And we would like to have a coat closet and a very small little storage closet on the other side. That's really the case. There's no underlying egos here or anything. We're not trying to make the house bigger, or something. It's just, we'd like to have a coat closet.
Okay. Mr. Sarver, if you would like to go and just provide the stance of the municipality.
As Mr. Episcopo stated, basically, they had come in and approached us concerning this proposed addition to the rear and also a front vestibule / closet bump out in front of the building line. And I advised them that under the zoning ordinance, you cannot build anything in front of the building line as far as occupiable space. There are some exceptions for overhangs and for one-story open porches, etc., but not for an enclosed occupied space. So I advised them of the sections that were in violation by proposing to build in front of the building line, and they proceeded to fill out the application for a variance and apply for tonight's case.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sarver. Did the commissioners have any input on the matter?
No.
Mr. Conti, any questions for Mr.
Yeah,
Sarver?
I will ask a few questions. First of all, the addition to the back of the house is fully within the zoning requirements?
Correct.
Okay, it's only the front thing that, first, I want to congratulate you on your commitment to Mount Lebanon and making such a large addition, which will, I think, make a very, very attractive house for you. However, quite frankly, a lack of closet space is not a hardship. And it would be really hard to try to argue in any way that it is. But let me ask you, are there any characteristics of your property, of your lot, that are different from the other houses up and down Broadmoor on that side of the street? Or is your lot pretty much the same size, the same orientation and so
Very
on?
close. You know,
Very close.
several of them do already have kind of a little vestibule on the front of them.
Yeah, Rodney mentioned the possibility of an overhang or a small porch or whatever. But there is nobody who has built over the building line with a habitable structure.
You just, if you can, before you speak, just state your name and address for reporter.
Can you come up to the
Yeah.
microphone, please?
Linda Episcopo, 466 Broadmoor. I actually took some pictures today because our house sits up further. The architect explained all that to us. And I took some today because I looked down to see how the houses lined up. And 3 of the houses, there are with the vestibules on the front, 3 of them, they sit back further. The ones to the left of us all sit at the same line as ours does. And so I actually spoke to the one owner today. This one here sits there, and then they have the vestibule in the front. So they moved in and this was already there. I don't know whoever put, when this house was built, if they put that vestibule on it or if it was like that when they built it a long, long time ago. So that's the only house that is on straight line with ours that, I think it may, come out past where the boundary line is, but I'm not real sure.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's,
okay. Is there anything, but there's nothing irregular about the siting of your house or of your lot, as far as you can tell?
I'm not sure what you mean by irregular, but
Well, different,
different.
different from the neighbors.
I don't think so.
Did you explore with your architect the possibility of putting closets? You're doing an extensive first floor renovation. Did you explore with him the possibility of doing closets within the renovation
did.
of the first floor? There certainly appears to be room for doing that.
We did. There's really just a living room to the left. The stairs, when you walk in the front door, the stairs are right there to go upstairs. I
Yes.
mean, literally
Yeah,
2 feet inside the door.
understand.
And there's a dining room on the right, living room on the left, and we're adding, the kitchen will be on the back.
Yeah,
So it's kind of hard to put a closet anywhere. That's why we were, Mark, our architect, suggested, he said, let's try to put something on the front.
the architect suggested
He did.
trying to put something on the front.
Yes.
Because that's a rather extensive projection that you're
Well,
proposing.
it looks worse on that drawing, because that drawing has the vestibule and then a porch in
Yes.
front of the vestibule.
Yeah.
We're probably not putting the porch on. It is strictly going to be the vestibule.
Yeah, but we have no way of judging that, given the drawings that were
No,
submitted.
no, no, correct.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, he added that porch on the front of the vestibule. So the variance is strictly for the 5-foot dimension. It is not for I think
Yeah.
it's sticking out there like 8 feet or 10,
Yeah, I
9
noticed,
feet.
yeah, well, the
that's-
structure was
we don't need-
extended, yeah.
We don't need the porch. We just strictly need the closet thing.
And which is what, about 4 feet,
5 feet. It's actually
5 feet?
Yeah, that, I actually, when I saw them, I didn't, until my husband pointed it out.
He went crazy.
Yeah.
And we just haven't
Sometimes
had a chance to
architects
have
do.
them change
No,
it.
I have no intention of putting that porch on it, none whatsoever. I just wanted a closet.
So there is one condition that I think I should mention that would make us want to do this also. So there's water coming in the basement.
Say it again.
There's water coming in the basement.
Yeah.
And we have to dig up the front anyway to put a French drain in.
I see. Yeah.
So we're going to have that dug all the way down to the foundation and put a French drain. I think it's noted on our drawing, actually, because the water just pours in the basement. So in that case, we figured if we're going to dig up the front anyway,
Understand that, that's very logical, yeah. Yeah.
I apologize that it doesn't show correctly on those drawings. We
Okay,
can change that.
yeah. Okay, that's everything I had.
All right, Ms. Farmer, you have any questions?
Have you talked with any of your neighbors about your plans, and have they provided feedback?
We actually have. So
There is a-
nobody even took, they just did a
They all got
great
the
idea.
letters, nobody said anything to us or whatever. When that house came for sale last fall, we wanted to live on that street there, so that's
So
why.
what she didn't tell you is our daughter lives, not the next house, but the next one down.
Oh, that's nice. I would want to live there too,
nice.
for that reason.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the
One of our daughters.
part
does.
of her reasoning.
Yeah, so, but, I just love, we got to know through our daughter living there, the people on that street, what they do, and so we just like it. So we bought the house, but I just need a closet.
Okay. I have a few questions. So in order for us to grant a variance, there's 5 criteria listed in the zoning ordinance. I'll kind of walk through each one, and then if you could just kind of how you feel that you meet each requirement as we go. So the first requirement states that there are unique physical circumstances or conditions, including irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness of the lot size or shape, or exceptional topographical or other physical conditions peculiar to the particular property, and that unnecessary hardship is due to such conditions and not the circumstances or conditions generally created by the provisions of the zoning ordinance in the neighborhood or district which the property is located.
So it is a shallow lot in that they built the front of the house right on the 30-foot line. It is shallow in my estimation. It could have been pushed back some, but there's no room, there's really not a whole lot of room back to push the house back because there's a hillside back there.
Could you describe about the hillside a little bit more?
So the back of the house, there's a garage, 1-car garage under the house. And you have to go down the driveway and then get into the garage. So they didn't have room to push the house back a whole lot because 8 feet out, there's a drop off.
On our.
Probably goes down about 15 feet.
Yeah. On our street towards the dead end, the lots are bigger. They're not, the lots aren't bigger, I take that back. The yards are bigger.
In the front.
Yeah, and as it comes up towards Crystal, it comes to a V. So ours has this drop off to the street down below it. And that's why our lot doesn't have as much room in the back. I don't know. I guess maybe that's why they built the house up further than, most of the houses on the street, but ours and about 4 other ones are built a little further up because of the way that street, yeah, the hillside there. Yeah, that's,
In the packet of information and the drawings, there was no kind of property schematic or survey provided.
It's on the first sheet of the drawing. Very first sheet.
The actual section.
Yeah, it's the survey.
T1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the survey first.
Okay, thank you.
Let me ask a question. You said the street behind you, but this indicates a lot behind you.
There's another house. Yeah.
There's another house.
There's a big
Yeah.
hillside that goes down to.
So-
Thornycroft is
you're-
behind us. The
Okay.
street Thornycroft is behind, which is down below us.
Yeah, on the survey, I was curious, there was, are these steps here?
In our yard, yes.
That's a deck that will be removed.
I see, okay.
Oh, he's talking about the deck,
Deck.
not the other
He said
steps that go down,
There's steps going up to a deck,
yeah.
Yeah,
that will be removed to allow the addition to be put on.
Okay. Do you have any additional questions?
I do not.
Okay, going into the second condition, that states that because of such physical circumstance or conditions, there is no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of the zoning ordinance, and that the authorization of a variance is therefore necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property.
I go back to my closet routine. We don't have any other leg to stand on. Just, there's really nowhere in the house to put a closet. And
The 1,200 square feet that it is, you know,
our daughter's house, right 2 doors down from us, has a little vestibule on it with 2 closets, with a closet.
because they set it back further when they built it.
Her house
So she has
pushed
a
back.
longer yard than we do.
Right.
That's just where they built the house.
And then, do you have any closets elsewhere in the house, maybe like on the second floor?
Upstairs.
basement?
There's a
One in each bedroom.
there's a
That's it.
linen closet and a bedroom closet. Yeah.
Yeah, one, each bedroom has
Right.
the typical small linen closets, and then there's a small linen closet at the top of the
Your
steps.
floor plan does, however, show the addition of a new closet at the back of the living room?
That's not a closet, that's a porch. That's a porch.
Wait,
In the first floor?
On the first floor?
Yeah, that's a porch on the back.
oh,
It's a small sun porch, kind of.
Well, I saw that, but I thought I saw a closet off the living room. Let's be clear on that.
you have to look at the things on that one.
I don't recall one on the first floor.
I believe it's where you're adding an office or a bathroom or something up there?
That's a powder room.
Powder room.
Powder room, yeah.
Yes.
Powder room.
Okay, this
On
is,
A5.
Yeah, those are demo.
on E5, no.
A5.
A5.
It's on A5. That is a powder.
Yeah, I'm looking at the demolition.
Yes.
A4. I do appreciate your giving us these detailed drawings.
I think Mark did a good job.
That's a closet.
No better than I
It
do.
contains
Oh, I'm sorry,
shelves.
yes, he did
Put a closet there.
powder room.
Okay. So there is a closet provided on the first floor in the new plan?
Yes.
Okay. I thought so. Otherwise, I like the plan.
Which is a closet.
that'll be a very nice addition.
Thank you.
Okay. The third criteria is that such unnecessary hardship has not been created by the applicant.
Didn't think we created it.
So
Any lack of closet space.
We
you
didn't build
didn't-
a house.
You didn't build the house, okay.
No.
Fourth one, that the variance, if authorized, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or district in which the property is located, nor substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property, nor be detrimental to the public welfare.
Definitely not. We would actually blend in better with the neighborhood since they all have them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's pictures here of 4
There's 3 or
houses
4
right on our
houses that
street.
have
That's
that-
just on our street
Have
that
the
have it.
vestibule.
Could we see that picture? of
Sure.
the
Sure,
one
Nathan.
that,
Well, there's 4 of them here. These are just our neighbors right
Right to the left and right of us.
left and right. That's actually the one that's down the end by Crystal that sticks out
okay,
like ours does. The other one's set back further, so that's.
The one right next to you, you're facing the street to the right, is that a enclosed porch or is that a,
One,
To the right of us
yeah, to the right of
is
you?
enclosed.
That one's enclosed.
no, neither one of us on either side have an
Oh,
enclosed
no,
porch.
not to the left. The one to the left is definitely not enclosed.
No,
That's just the
neither one.
one.
They like
That one is just like a little awning.
Are you talking, it would be 2 away. Let me see which one.
So
That might be our daughter's house.
this one, this is your house, right? So that one that's not an enclosed,
No, that's not
Porch,
enclosed.
okay.
No, that's just the little.
yeah, and then on the other side is just the
Yeah,
awning,
right,
okay.
they're both that way.
They are
Yeah.
466.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this one is 2 down from you?
No, that
couple
one is
down?
the one that's down, it's like 1,
But these are within the building line?
3
Yes,
down.
the building line is
Okay.
right in the front of
Where
their
the
house.
streets get-
Yeah.
So you can see if you
Where the
protrude that
lots
down,
get, you know, towards
these,
the,
these houses sit just a little bit
triangle.
further
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Okay,
and
so,
so that one is the one that's on the
but,
same
yeah,
parallel as us.
I'm sorry,
But then
Rodney,
the
give it to
other
me again. Which ones sit
houses
further back? These 3
That's our
down
daughter's,
here.
which is 2 away from us.
Here's-
Now,
here's
ours
their
sits back
house.
that little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah.
They built it. That is two away, or 3 away from her. And I think the next one is her next door neighbor.
Okay.
So both of them have the vestibules in front of them.
Yeah,
And then I mean, there are many up and down
Sure, yeah,
the neighborhood. I just took what was on our street.
thank you.
And I believe you mentioned earlier that you've spoken to your neighbors. Have you
Yeah.
spoken to the neighbors on each side, and approximately how many
yeah,
neighbors did you talk to?
Steps back
yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that allows for that vestibule in front of the
At least
house, but
5.
still be at the building.
Yeah.
So those are probably
Well, Sue, ours,
conforming.
Actually,
Ashley, yeah, Mike and Joanne,
Lisa,
Lisa, yeah, Jenna and Drew, you know, basically some of the
6.
ones that we really know.
5 or 6.
But nobody has ever approached us and said anything. I mean, you sent the letters to them, so they, you know, they didn't knock on our door and say, hey, what are you doing? Or why are you doing this? Or something like that.
Yeah. As we look at this, without knowing exact measurements, it does appear that those vestibules might be within the building line when you look closely at it.
Not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure either.
As I said, the 3 on the, as you look at our house on the left, I'm sure they probably are. That one, it's down on, towards the corner, I think,
Looks like it is not.
yeah, it looks like it would be what ours is, but it was, I guess it was built that way.
Looking at the pictures, they appear to be original to the house, not additions in all
Right.
cases.
Right, correct.
Okay. Which kind of leads to a presumption that they're within the zoning limits and not there because of a variance or because somebody built it without a permit.
Don't know.
The last and fifth criteria is that the variance, if authorized, will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and will represent the least modification possible of the regulation in issue.
Well,
Well, that's the least. I mean, we're not making it any bigger, we're not.
we could make it smaller if it's less objectionable. It doesn't have to come out, we have it sticking out 5 feet, I think, right now. We could probably make it a little smaller.
5 feet would be for the, essentially to fit a closet.
Closet.
Just a smaller closet. If it was more desirable to have it stick out 3.5 feet, because we have to allow for the wall, the outside wall of it.
Mr. Sarver, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you aware of any recent building permits or variances for any of the other vestibules for the houses on the street?
Not since I've been here. There's been building permits for, rear decks and things like that, but I'm unaware of any vestibules in the front.
All right, thank you. Did any of my questions spark additional questions by the board? Is there anybody in the room that would like to offer testimony? Anybody online?
There's one person online. If you want to intervene in this case, just raise your hand on the screen so that we're aware that you want to make any statements. Please. Don't see any hands.
Okay, at this time, we will enter executive session, and we could go off the record for now, and we will be right back. Thank you. All right, thank you. We could go back on the record now. All right, we are prepared to vote. Mr. Conti, how do you vote?
I vote to deny the variance reluctantly.
Ms. Farmer?
I vote to deny the variance.
As do I. So we will provide within 30 days, we'll provide a written justification on the denial. And then,
Well, we have to do that, so we will.
You just said to us that we were happy that we were putting it on, we moved the Mount Lebanon. This makes us want to sell it and go back to ours. Good luck. Good luck. We may just do that.
okay, we will now hear case 1870. So if whoever would like to provide testimony, please stand and be sworn in.
Please swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help God. Please state your name.
Michael Mackey.
Bill Diffenberger,
D-I-F-F.
Diffenber.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. In our packet, we have the cover sheet for Appeal 1870, Michael Mackey, 201 Jefferson Drive. We have also the justification of the variance, copy of the newspaper ad, receipt for the newspaper ad, the zoning variance application, looks like photographs and information about the property from Great Lakes Services. a survey plan from All Points Surveying Company, a site rendering of the proposal, as well as a detailed schematic of the fireplace. A written packet with justification and photos, and then photos taken by the municipality. So we do have one email that was received. I'll read that into the record in a little bit. So Mr. Mackey, now is the time for you to present your case.
Sure. So I'll do real quick, and then I was hoping that Bill could speak because he has to run. Sure. That's okay. So I'm looking to build a fireplace on my side yard. We have a patio that was constructed. We replaced a old decrepit deck when we moved in. We moved in a little under 2 years ago. We've replaced the deck with a patio. We'd like to put a fireplace, but since I have 2 front yards, being my side yard is also on a street, I have some setbacks that I can't build an accessory structure outside of the footprint of my house. To do that, if we were to build it within the footprint of the house, it'd be very close to the house, like 4 feet from the deck. So I'll let Bill speak real quickly, and then I'll go through the 5 points and some other details.
And then just if you can, just state your
Yeah, my name's
name
Bill
and-
Diffenderfer. My wife and family, we live right behind them at 200 Hazel Drive. At first, I'd like to say I've lived here since we moved in our house in October of 1990. That I personally don't know Mike. They bought the house, he and his wife and family bought the house months ago. We've watched what they've done to the house, and it is absolutely magnificent what they're doing. The backyard is absolutely gorgeous. Now, their backyard, if you stand in their backyard and look up the hill, that's my house. And the way the vegetation is, frankly, I understand I'm an attorney. I certainly understand the spirit of the ordinance. If you have a corner house, they're both frontage. But if you would look at on Hemlock, it's a hill. And it's really, that side is really like a backyard. It's not, in other words, the spirit of the law, I totally understand, to not do stuff in the front like the people ahead of us. But in terms of our backyards and just going a few feet like he's wanting to do, really, I don't think violates the spirit of the ordinance at all. We are totally in favor of them doing this. I can't tell the board how impressed we are. I heard, and it's very obvious, his wife is an interior designer, and it's just fantastic, and it's definitely something that's going to be an asset certainly to our area. So we strongly support these guys, and want to express that. I came here personally to say that because I know sometimes it's tough. I am sure that if any of you would see and know what we're talking about, it's really not like the side yard that's frontage. And the way he has his trees, no one's even going to see this. And the way the vegetation is to our left, if I'm looking down, we're really the only house that would be effective and able to see it. And let me tell you something, I'm glad I can see it because it's gorgeous. So thank you. Have a good night. All right, Michael. Take care.
All right, so go into a little more detail. So Bill's right, we moved in about 18 months ago. Fortunately or unfortunately, my wife is an interior designer, so we've been doing a lot of work. It's our 5th house in Mount Lebanon. We've done a lot of work on all of them, improved them, and we think what we're doing here is certainly going to improve this property, but also kind of just generally the community, what we're doing. So we had a 2-tiered deck off the back of the house. It was, we thought we were just going to replace the deck, but as we started to pull it apart, we thought we were just going to replace the tops. We started to pull it apart. It was pretty decrepit. I think it was about 40 years old. So underneath everything needed to come out. So we had to get permits for a new deck, and decided that instead of replacing this deck, we would do a patio because it touches the ground, and that rots a lot quicker having that. So One of the things we always wanted to do with that side spot was to add a fireplace. Didn't realize Rodney's actually been really helpful through the process, but didn't realize that my side yard is a front yard. And as you guys were talking about in the last, with the last appellant, that there is a setback that you're allowed to build in your front yard. Well, my side yard's too close to the street to have any setback, or I forget, what's the term, Rodney, is it the property line, building line? We're in the front yard? Building line. So I have no building line, so I can only build any accessory structure within the footprint of the house. And as I said, that footprint of the house would be just too close. It wouldn't be usable, and the fireplace would be right in the middle of the patio and in the walkway from the side door to the backyard. So to address the five criteria, the unique physical circumstances, conditions, including irregularity, narrowness, shallowness of the lot, size or the shape. So it's very narrow. I have no front yard. I have no ability to build on that side. Because of the physical conditions, there's no possibility the property can be developed in strict conformity with the zoning ordinance. That is correct. These conditions that I have are why I'm seeking a variance. The unnecessary hardship has been created by me. That is not correct. I've only been in the house since 2023. The variance, if authorized, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood of the district where the property is located. I would strongly agree with that. I think we're doing a lot of good on the property. It hadn't been really updated in 40 years. So I personally have spent the last 12 months redoing the landscaping in the front and the back, and then this would kind of be the last piece to that. So if anything, I think this will increase the value of the property and continue to increase the appeal of moving to Mount Lebanon. I have, as far as along that variance or that criteria, I would think that would also be, does it impact my neighbors? I met Bill last week when I asked him if he was okay with the fireplace, and he said, I'm coming. I think somebody's emailed, was my other neighbor. I've asked every neighbor that would be kind of my four corners that could possibly see it. They all are in favor of it. And also, since we posted the hearing, I've had neighbors that I don't know walk by and ask, where's the fireplace going? Oh, well, I hope you get approved. So I think most people seem to be okay with it. And then the last criteria, the variance if authorized will represent the minimum variance needed. That is correct. I'm looking for a de minimis exception here. So we're looking to start the fireplace right at the edge of the house where I could go. And so what we're looking for is 5.5 feet, which is basically that. I'd like more, but I get it. I'm just trying to do it I'm trying to create enough usable space in the patio where we could actually use the fireplace. It's far enough away from the deck and the side of the house there, and that it's also not in the way of the ingress egress that you would use that patio for, to go from our side door to our backyard. Is there any, well, I guess that's it for me, so I'm sure there's questions.
Sure there will be, so thank you.
Yeah.
So we'll turn over to Mr. Sarver before we start asking questions.
Sure.
So Mr. Sarver, could you provide the municipality's position, please?
Yes, so the municipality obviously stands by the zoning ordinance. Mr. Mackey came into our office with his contractor and basically to investigate the possibility of putting a patio on this side / front yard area along Hemlock Street. So if you look at the survey that was submitted, you can see that Jefferson is their front main yard. That has a 50-foot building line, and then they have a side street, which is Hemlock Street, and therefore they are a corner lot. But there is no, on the recorded plan, there is no building line along Hemlock Street. So we use the established side yard, which was the bump out towards Hemlock Street, as you can see on the survey. So that was an enclosed porch, and then they added an addition above it in the past with the overhang. So under the zoning ordinance at that time, we discovered through research that that was permissible to be enclosed. And the 1 foot, I think it's a 1 foot overhang on above, was allowed basically as a projection. So currently, his house is currently compliant with the zoning regulations. And then since he is a corner lot, we take the established building line because it is less, as you read from the zoning section. If there's none shown on the recorded plan, and if he's situated between two lots, then you would take the average. Unfortunately, he's not situated between two lots because he's on a corner. So therefore, it says that you basically have to take the established, essentially. So we're using the 13, well, I shouldn't say the 13 foot. We're using the existing 13-foot measurement from the side of his house that includes that past bump out. And as you can see by the rendering that he provided, we issued a permit for the patio itself because that is a compliant structure, and technically he can go 10 feet into the required front yard or established front yard with a one-story open porch. So the patio is allowed to go where it's at, which, as he explained, will include the fireplace. But unfortunately, the fireplace is in front of the existing side bump out, therefore it's in front of the established building line. Therefore, he applied for a variance to, basically go for a variance to allow the construction of the fireplace in front of the building line, the established building line, I should say.
And I should add, Rodney reminds me, like I said, he was very helpful. So we spent a lot of time, revisions, and money trying to figure out if there was other places to put it on the patio, and there was no place where it didn't block the walk from one end to the other, be usable, to actually have like usable space, or be too close to the actual house. And there's a big off the house you can't see, but right here there's a massive, very tall chimney here. So the closer we get to that, then you start having the new chimney too close to the existing chimney.
All right, thank you. Mr. Sarver, did the commissioners weigh in at all? No. Any questions for Mr. Sarver?
I don't think so. How far from the curb of Hemlock would this fireplace be, just to be precise?
I think Rodney has 6 feet from Hemlock.
Six?
Not from the curb, though.
It says 7-Eleven to the edge of the patio, but that doesn't appear to be to the edge of the structure.
It's the edge of the structure. If you follow that line.
Oh, yeah.
Show me. What,
You follow, is this what you're talking about?
I'm looking right here.
Yeah, so follow
It says
this
7-Eleven, but what is this brown here?
See how oh, sorry, see how the 7-Eleven line comes to the back of the fireplace?
No,
7'11".
yeah. I don't see anything in front of the 7-Eleven line over here.
Are you asking how far is the back of the fireplace to the street?
Yeah, to the street.
7'11". Is that what that's at?
Okay, well, where
Can
is-
I interject?
Yeah.
So if you look at the application or the legal write-up, scaling off of the survey, he wanted to keep, and correct me if I'm wrong, he wanted to keep the front of the fireplace even with the existing side bump out, which is at 13 feet
Oh.
And
from
it
the
goes
house.
5
Okay.
feet back from there.
All
So
right,
that's the 13-foot
this
measurement.
is the fireplace
Yes, sorry,
here.
yes.
Yes. So that 7'11" is actually incorrect. Well, I take that back. So if you look at the legal
Yeah,
rendering, roughly he has about 11'5" or 11.5" side yard or front yard setback currently
yeah.
to the existing side yard bump out. If you look at the rendering of the chimney, the construction rendering, and you take the width of that, that leaves him with a 5'5" front yard. That's from the right-of-way line. That's not to the curb.
I'm sorry, the right-of-way line, I think,
Yes.
is what should apply, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
The right-of-way and the front property line are the same thing. But to the actual, your question was to the curb.
No, forget that then. I'm sorry, I'm just assuming
So it's a
that-
lot further to the curb is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the property line at the sidewalk essentially?
No, I don't know if I can tell by our
It's-
GIS.
Well, it's a 50-foot street.
Yeah, usually a 50-foot right-of-way has a 26-foot street in it, so usually it's 12 feet behind the curb. So if you add 12 feet to the 5.5, you're at roughly 17 and a half feet from the actual curb.
Yeah.
But let me see if that's true with the existing layout of this. That's a curved street, correct? I believe it is.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
photo it is.
Used
It
to
is.
be.
Yes.
Maybe
So
on the
it's probably a
bottom is-
26-foot wide street, back of curb to back of curb. So that probably leaves 12 feet behind the curb that is still public right-of-way. And then he's proposing the back of the fireplace would be 5.5 feet from the property line.
Yeah,
So it would be a total of about 17 and a half feet from the curb.
okay.
If I'm following correct, then the fireplace would not be in the 50-foot right-of-way?
No, it would not be. We could not grant a
Yeah, when,
permit for anybody constructing anything in the right-of-way.
yeah,
Even the back?
He's on his property, the back of the fireplace would be 5.5 feet.
Here is the right of way, like from the sidewalk.
well, the right-of-way probably extends beyond the sidewalk.
You're looking at the bottom?
Yeah, the
Yes.
bottom
So the
right.
bottom right picture,
Yeah,
you can see those pine trees are probably planted in the right-of-way. So his side of the pine trees would be his property line roughly.
okay.
You know, it's a pretty good chance that that addition was built within 5 feet of the right-of-way line.
The
No,
enclosed
it's 11 and a half feet.
The addition.
The addition is 11 and a half feet from the
Okay.
right-of-way, based on scaling the survey.
But would it be,
back addition or the enclosed porch, are you
The
asking?
enclosed porch, so if you look at this survey,
yeah,
from the dashed line overhang, which is a second-story overhang, which you can see by the bottom right photo. You see how the second-story overhangs the first?
yes,
That's the dotted line on the survey.
okay,
So from that dotted line to the front property line / right-of-way line of Hemlock is 11 and a half feet.
okay.
And that would be the front of his fireplace. He's proposing that the back of the fireplace would be 5.5 feet from that property line.
Rodney, is there another set of the pictures you guys took?
No, but you're welcome to look at these.
Those do a good job of showing what Bill was saying, so you really can't see it from anywhere because of that tree line. Bill's house is this one back up here.
Okay.
Mr. Conti, do you have any additional questions?
Yeah, I do. Have you, I'm kind of curious. Did you have a landscape designer do this, or did your wife do this?
This would be the landscape design, that rendering you have there?
Yeah,
Well, it was a combination of us and working with our landscape contractor.
okay, landscape contractor. No, I think I think we've cleared up the dimensional issues, but this would definitely be an accessory structure,
It's an accessory
three
structure.
structure. And it would, exceed, it would intrude, if you will, into the side yard, into the side yard requirement.
It would intrude into the front yard setback on Hemlock side.
Yes,
Because
yeah,
he's a corner lot, he has 2 front yards.
right, I'm sorry, I'm calling it a side yard.
I've done this a lot. How could I have
Well,
two front
it's,
yards?
see, that's the problem. There are loads of cases that have come before this board, long before I ever got on it, of people who have side yards that are really front yards.
Sure.
And it's always a very thorny subject.
I can, listen, I can see why, you know, in a lot of cases where that would be, you know, that would apply. And to me, that would be really, what are you, same as a front yard, what are you building in your front yard? And I think it makes sense that we have regulations on what you can build in your front yard. If I wanted to build this fireplace in my front yard, I'd have 50 feet to do it, correct? My true front yard,
Well, you could build it in front of your house.
in front of my house, which I think is,
Which
would
would
be,
still be behind the 50-foot building.
which I
line,
actually think
because-
is absurd. I wouldn't build a fireplace in my front yard. This is my side yard, and it is completely shielded, on one side by a tree and pre-existing air conditioning fencing, on the entire street side where anyone would see it by an incredibly dense tree line, and then the only person who could possibly see it would be Bill, and he's, I don't know what the email you said has to say either, but.
Does the fireplace need to be this large?
Yes, I mean, we're talking, yeah, it does.
Why?
Because you're really dictated by the fire boxes that you can get, and so I've done a fireplace at our last house on a deck, and that was probably 6 or 7 feet deep, so I'm trying to bring it as small as possible with being able to have an outdoor fire that you can actually use and feel. So yes, you're kind of limited to your fire boxes, and then the stone worker will build around that. So this would be the smaller of the fire boxes that we could get.
I've seen smaller backyard fireplaces, though.
So this is with just a hearth in front of it, this is only going to be about 3 feet deep. So I'd have to see a fireplace that would be smaller than that.
Can you say a little more about, so you said that you had really tried to think about if there are alternate places on the patio to put the
Sure.
fireplace that are within line. And it's hard to tell from
It's hard,
the
yeah.
pictures of the drawing, but like within the line, like and towards the, facing your neighbor's house, is that not?
So here is the hillside. This is steps and a walkway
Okay.
that take you to the backyard. So we would have to totally get rid of that and have no way to get to the backyard. So our backyard is this, you can see Bill's house is really high.
Yeah.
So it comes down these tiers, and we have a deck and a driveway that's sunken below the deck. So I've done it on a deck, but I can't do it on the deck because you need to be able to put a pretty significant foundation underneath it, and that would be right in my driveway. So we couldn't get into the garages. So then we looked at, could we bring it inside that footprint and then over here, and we just couldn't without covering up this walkway. And this is also, you can't tell, but this is the stairs to the deck.
Okay.
So you'd actually be just like terminating your stairs right in there. So then we looked over here. There's a tree right here that saw anti-air conditioning units and all the windows here. But the biggest problem is there's this pre-existing, what we think was the old like back door stoop. It's a room in the garage that has HVAC in it, but it's a cement room. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was an old like coal room or something like that. But it has a probably 18-inch thick cement slab that sticks above our patio, so we just had to deal with it. So we looked there, then we looked at, could we bring it in and angle it, and then we would just block any of the, because this is a door right here, so you can come out here if you want. So it just blocked anywhere. So we really delayed this project probably 3 months working with Rodney, just see if we could find any other scenario.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have thrown away $500 to come do a variance if I didn't have to. I've thrown a lot of money away. So.
I guess, kind of staying on the subject of alternate locations to potentially put a fireplace. Looking at the photo on the first page of the packet that you provided, would you be able to construct a patio or fireplace kind of further back in the grass area or other places kind of outside of the setback?
So build a second patio?
Or are you not building a second patio now?
No, this is just replacing the existing deck structure. Are you saying to go put a patio in the back tiered yards?
Yes, in the tiered location.
Yeah, so then I'd have to just build a whole nother structure and take up that yard, but it's also very tiny. I mean, there's just like a little strip of land back there. We just have like one of these kind of tiered up to the hill, so.
Approximately, how wide is the tier?
Probably, that grass area is probably 8 or 9 feet, maybe 8 feet, I don't know. That would be our only yard, I mean, really, so. And it would require there was an existing deck that we've enhanced, replaced this other deck that was connected to it with a patio because it didn't make sense. So then that would be adding a third patio. So financially, it would be a hardship for sure.
Have you explored kind of other type of fire pits, fire structures other than a larger stone fireplace? Kind of maybe like, for example, like a fireplace like a chimenea or firebox that you could put on your deck without additional supports?
I mean, yeah, you could do that. That's not what we're looking to do. Yeah, I mean, it would not be the same quality in addition to the community in the house as just getting a chimney that lasts 2 years.
So I guess you touched a little bit on the kind of the five requirements. Kind of on the second requirement is that because of a physical circumstance or condition, there's no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of the zoning ordinance, and that authorization of a variance is therefore necessary to enable reasonable use of the property. Could you touch on the reasonable use of the property?
Well, I'm obviously not changing the use of the property. I can still reasonably use it. I think this is to enjoy the property, to add value to the property, and I think it's the most logical place to put the fireplace. I mean, like I said, if I have the right to do it in the front yard, I think that would be absurd. I think I'm picking a spot where it's the most usable, it's the least visible to other neighbors. I've checked with my neighbors. I think the spirit of the ordinance is, for the visibility of it, that people don't want to, if I can't put a fireplace way out in the front yard in front of the sidewalk, I think in this case, nobody can see it. It's really not harming anybody. So I would think that this makes the most sense, the most logical place for it to go.
The vegetation, the junipers or kind of the evergreen hedge that you have.
Green giants, yeah.
Are they, those are your shrubbery?
They're on my property. I didn't plant those, no.
Okay. I don't have any additional questions, Mr. Conte.
I don't have any more questions.
Ms. Farmer?
I don't have any additional questions.
Okay, I guess at this time, I'll read the email that we received into the record. So we have an email from Donald and Janet. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce last name, so I'll just spell it. FOLAJT, as in Thomas, AR, of 207 Jefferson Drive. The email was received on Monday, May 12th. And states, "Dear Mr. Sarver, we are sending this email in support of the Mackeys' request for a variance to construct an outdoor fireplace on their patio adjacent to Hemlock Street. We have no objection to granting the variance. The proposed location of the fireplace is quite secluded and not visible from our property or from the sidewalk along Hemlock. Please let us know if you need any additional information." Is there anybody online that would like to offer testimony?
If you are online and you want to intervene, just raise your hand on the screen to call, and I can let you in.
Okay, at this time, we will go into executive session. We can pause the record and we will be back momentarily. Okay, we're good to go back on record. All right, we are prepared to vote. Mr. Chianti, how do you vote?
I vote to deny the variance.
Ms. Farmer?
I vote to deny the variance.
As do I. We'll provide a written justification within 30 days and kind of outline the report.
Is there an appeals process?
There is.
And it'll be in justification.
Yes.
30-day appeal process, so once you get the notice, you'll have 30 days to appeal it to the Court of Common Pleas.
You'll have a rationale on there.
We will. Thank you. Yeah, we could
We're done?
close the record. We're done.